So, as many Celtics fans know, the Celtics were eliminated last night by the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 7 in Boston of the Eastern Conference Finals. They only scored 79 points. They lost 87 to 79 to the Cavs, and the series is over. The Cavaliers are once again going to the finals. But how do I feel about this? Well, I've been kind of going back and forth on this since it happened. The Celtics, I mentioned going into the playoffs, I thought they were done. I didn't see them winning more than a few games against Milwaukee, maybe beating Milwaukee, but that was about it. And then they beat the Sixers, and they go to the conference finals. And then something weird happened, which is when the conference finals started, everyone started picking the Celtics. And not only did they start picking the Celtics, but they started saying, the Celtics are a much better team than the Cavs. Outside of LeBron, the Cavs don't have anyone who can play, so, the Celtics are a better team. And I kind of agree with that premise, but as we just saw, not having that superstar player really did hurt the Celtics down the stretch. And, of course, it helped the Cavs because they happen to have the best player in the league. So what I saw this series was both encouraging and frustrating. Frustrating, obviously, because they lost, but encouraging because they beat the Cavs 3 times, and they were in every game. Other than Game 3, they got blown out. But contrasting that with last year's Eastern Conference Finals, they got slammed by the Cavs in 5 games. Only one of those games was close. This year, every game was close at some point other than Game 3. And the Celtics even, blew the Cavs out in Game 1. So, say what you want about LeBron, toying with the Celtics, the first couple of games, not trying as hard or whatever. But, they pushed the Cavs to the limit. And if you had asked me in the beginning of the season what my expectations were for this team, I didn't think they were going to make the finals. But I thought that they could push the Cavs to 7 games. And that's exactly what they did. And they made that 7th game a very close one. Again, I also thought Cleveland was going to be better this season. Going into the season, with Isaiah Thomas, I thought he was going to be a bigger role player on that team. And I thought, with LeBron and Isaiah and even like Dwayne Wade, I thought was going to do more. I thought the Cavs were going to be a really formidable team and maybe even number 1 in the East. Now, that didn't happen, and because of that, the Celtics got the home court advantage. And really, you could say the Celtics caught a lot of breaks this playoff season. They only had to play the Bucks, who, all due respect to the Bucks, they're not like a juggernaut in the East. They had to play the Sixers, who are like the up-and-coming, probably going to be the Celtics' top rival going forward with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and all them. So they played them, and they beat them pretty handily, actually, even without Kyrie. And then the Cavs, who are kind of like the old, the Empire sort of thing. Like they are on top of the East just by default, but you don't see them lasting much longer. And honestly, I've never liked LeBron. I kind of went back and forth on it. Yeah, I liked that he went back to Cleveland and everything. That was a nice story. But since then, I've kind of gone back to sort of hating LeBron. And I think I'm more frustrated about who the Celtics lost to than the fact that they lost. Because it would have been so nice to see the Cavs lose. It would have been nice. Let somebody else get killed by the Warriors in the finals. That could have been the Celtics getting killed in the finals by the Warriors. And we don't know if it'll be the Warriors yet. It could be the Rockets, but I think it'll be the Warriors. And if it is, I really just hope they kill Cleveland and just sweep them in 4. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But talking about this series, it was frustrating because you feel like they should have beaten them. They had a 3-2 series lead. They had a 2-0 series lead. They had plenty of chances to put the Cavs away in games 4 and 6 even. They could have, just held on. And it's like every time they let the Cavs back in, you just knew LeBron, wasn't going to let them lose, especially when it was Game 7 in the 4th quarter, the close game. You knew LeBron was going to find a way to pull that out, and he did. So I can't even... It's one of those situations where it's like things kind of went how I expected, but I'm still a little frustrated. But it's more because of the Cavs winning than the Celtics losing, if that makes sense, because I didn't think the Celtics would win. But they did make it interesting. They showed you that they could hang with the Cavs and beat them at times. So going into next season, we don't even know if LeBron's going to be on the Cavs, and if he's not, then, the Sixers are probably their next rival. You got the Raptors. The Wizards have kind of faded in recent memory, but again, anything could happen. It's easy to sit here and say, oh, the Celtics are going to run away with it next year because they have Hayward and Irving coming back, but you don't know what's going to happen. Not to mention the Sixers could even get LeBron, or they could get some other big player, and then we're, back to being maybe the second best team in the East, so we'll see what happens. Overall, I was going to do a rant whether they won or lost, because either way, I'm extremely impressed with the Celtics team. If you had told me a few years ago the Celtics would be 1 game away from the finals and would even be leading that game in the 4th quarter, I would be very impressed with that, because the Celtics weren't supposed to go anywhere a few years ago. And, they were trying to get, Kevin Durant at points. They were trying to get all these big players. Couldn't get any of them. But, they don't have that big player right now, but with the Celtics roster being what it is next year, I expect to see them contend. But anyway, my overall analysis of the series was that while the ending was disappointing but expected, the Celtics did somehow exceed my expectations, which is really weird how they both fulfilled and exceeded my expectations. But going forward, we'll see what happens. For now, go Warriors.